Chapter 1. The Alpha's Heir. The night was alive with energy, the kind that prickled against fur and set every wolf's instinct on edge. The blood moon hung heavy in the sky, casting the sacred clearing in an eerie crimson glow. It was a rare celestial event, one that hadn't occurred in over a century, and the Black Fang pack had gathered in full force to witness it. At the center of it all stood Alpha Kieran Blackfang, a mountain of a man with shoulders broad enough to carry the weight of his entire pack. His storm-gray eyes, usually sharp with command, were softened tonight as he gazed down at the two squirming bundles cradled in his mate's arms. Luna, her dark hair streaked with silver like the first light of dawn, held their newborn sons close to her chest. The twins, Riven and Cain, were barely hours old, yet their presence had already sent ripples through the pack. Kieran lifted his head, his voice a deep, resonant growl that carried over the gathered wolves. "Tonight," he declared, "under the blood moon's gaze, our pack's future is secured. These boys, my sons, carry the blood of warriors and the spirit of our ancestors. They are our strength, our legacy." A chorus of approving howls rose into the night, the sound vibrating through the trees. The elders, their faces lined with age and wisdom, stepped forward first, bowing their heads in respect. One by one, the pack followed. Warriors, hunters, even the young pups who barely reached Kieran's knees, all paying homage to the heirs of Blackfang. But not everyone rejoiced. From the shadowed edges of the clearing, Damon Blackfang watched with narrowed golden eyes. Kieran's younger brother, though similar in build, lacked the same commanding presence. Where Kieran was a storm, Damon was the uneasy calm before it, quiet, calculating, and simmering with resentment. Twins born under a blood moon, Damon muttered to the two wolves at his side, Garrick and Silas, his most loyal followers. The elders whisper of old prophecies. Some say it's a blessing. His lips curled. Others say it's a curse. Garrick, a hulking brute with a missing ear from a past battle, grunted, "If it's a curse, then why celebrate?" Damon's gaze flickered back to the twins. "Because my brother is a fool who believes in hope, but hope won't save us if those boys bring ruin." Luna's sharp ears caught the murmurs, her wolf stirring uneasily beneath her skin. She didn't need to hear Damon's words to sense the hostility rolling off him in waves. Her grip tightened around Riven and Cain, her instincts screaming at her to shield them. Kieran's hand settled on her shoulder, his thumb brushing against her skin in a silent reassurance. "They're safe," he murmured, low enough for only her to hear. She wanted to believe him, but the blood moon's light felt too heavy, too foreboding. Then, a crack of a branch. Every wolf's head snapped toward the tree line. The air grew thick with tension, the celebratory atmosphere vanishing in an instant. Kieran's body tensed, his muscles coiling like a spring. "Show yourself," he commanded, his voice edged with warning. For a heartbeat, there was nothing. Then a pair of glowing red eyes emerged from the darkness. The pack erupted into snarls, fur bristling along spines as the intruder stepped into the moonlight. It was a rogue. Tall, emaciated, his matted fur streaked with scars, the rogue wolf bared his teeth in a grotesque smile. "Congratulations, Alpha," the rogue rasped. "Twins under a blood moon, how poetic." Kieran shifted in an instant, his massive black wolf form blocking Luna and the infants. A chorus of growls answered as the rest of the pack readied for battle. But the rogue didn't attack. Instead, he lifted his head and let out a single haunting howl, a sound that echoed through the forest like a death knell. And from the shadows, dozens more red eyes blinked open. Luna's blood ran cold. This wasn't an attack. It was a message. The rogue's lips peeled back in a grin. The blood moon rises, and the packs will bleed. Then, as quickly as he appeared, he vanished into the night, his followers melting back into the trees. Silence, then chaos. The pack erupted into panicked murmurs. Damon's voice cut through the noise. You see, the omens don't lie. Those boys will be the death of us all. Kieran shifted back, his face a mask of fury. Enough! His roar silenced the clearing. No rogue's words will divide us. My sons are our future, and I will die before I let anyone threaten them. Luna pressed a kiss to each twin's forehead, her heart pounding. What have we brought them into? The blood moon loomed above, its crimson light bathing the pack in an eerie glow. The prophecy had begun. Chapter 2. The Rogue Attack. The moment the rogue's howl faded into the night, the forest erupted. From every shadowed crevice between the ancient oaks, feral wolves poured into the clearing, their matted fur streaked with mud and blood, their yellowed fangs bared its snarls. They moved like a living tide, surrounding the black-fanged pack in a tightening circle of snapping jaws and bristling hackles. At their head stood Vexus, a monstrous black wolf whose size rivaled Kieran's own alpha form. A jagged scar ran from his left ear down to his muzzle, twisting his lip into a permanent sneer. His eyes, a sickly, glowing yellow, locked onto Luna and the twins with terrifying focus. "Give us the children," Vexus growled, his voice like gravel grinding together. "And your pack walks away." The clearing fell deathly silent. Every black-fanged wolf had gone still, their muscles coiled tight, waiting for their alpha's command. Kieran didn't hesitate. With a roar that shook the trees, he shifted. His human form exploded outward in a burst of dark fur and snapping bone. Where a man had stood now towered a wolf of nightmare proportions, his jet-black pelt streaked with silver scars earned in countless battles. "You'll touch them over my rotting corpse." Kieran snarled through razor-sharp fangs. The battle erupted like a lightning strike. Luna reacted instantly, shoving the twins into the arms of the nearest elder before her own shift took her. Her smaller, sleek gray wolf form darted between the rogues, her teeth finding throats with lethal precision. The clearing became a whirlwind of fur and blood. Garrick, Damon's hulking second, swung a massive paw that caved in a rogue skull. Silas, the pack's fastest hunter, became a silver blur as he harried the flanks. But for every rogue that fell, two more seemed to take its place. Vexus fought like a demon, his massive claws tearing through Black Fang warriors as if they were parchment. He was making a beeline straight for the elders holding the twins, until Kieran had slammed into him like a fallen oak. The two alpha-sized wolves rolled across the bloodied earth, a tangle of snapping fangs and rending claws. Vexus got his jaws around Kieran's foreleg, a sickening crunch of bone. But Kieran barely flinched, driving his own fangs deep into the rogue's shoulder. "You're dying for pups who'll never live to see the moon set." Vexus spat through a mouthful of Kieran's blood. Luna saw it happen in horrifying slow motion. While the pack was distracted, 3 rogues broke through the defensive line. One lunged at the elder, holding Riven, a power silver streak, shot from the trees like a comet. The mysterious wolf moved faster than anything Luna had ever seen. One moment, the rogue was mid-leap. The next, its head tore free from its body in a spray of crimson. The silver wolf didn't pause. It whirled, its massive paws crushing the second rogue's spine before its jaws closed around the third's throat and shook. The sound of snappy vertebrae echoed across the battlefield. Silence fell like a hammer. Every rogue still standing froze. Even Vexus went rigid beneath Kieran's claws. The silver wolf turned, and Luna saw its eyes. Pale blue, almost glowing. Vexus actually whimpered, "No, it can't be." With a final pitiful yelp, the rogue leader wrenched free from Kieran and fled, his pack scattering after him into the trees. The silver wolf shimmered, and where a beast had stood, now crouched a woman. She was tall, her muscular frame wrapped in tattered leathers, her long silver-white hair streaked with blood not her own, but it was her eyes that held Luna transfixed, that same eerie blue like moonlight on ice. "You saved us!" Luna gasped, shifting back to human form as she ran to the twins. The stranger didn't smile. "I didn't do it for you." Her gaze locked onto the squirming infants. "I did it for them." Kieran, limping but still lethal in his human form, stepped between her and his sons. "Who are you?" The woman's lips curled, not quite a smile, not quite a snarl. Seraphina of the Shattered Peak Pack. Her voice dropped to a whisper, only they could hear. "And those boys are the reason my entire bloodline was slaughtered." Behind them, Damon's gasp was audible. The cursed pack. The blood moon above them pulsed like a dying heartbeat. Chapter 3. A Forbidden Bond. 12 years had passed since the blood moon prophecy began. 12 years of uneasy peace, of whispered warnings, of growing tension that clung to the Black Fang pack like morning mist. The twins were no longer helpless infants. Riven, now a lean, towering youth of 17, moved through the pack's territory like a living shadow. His wolf form was a monstrous, ink-black beast with eyes like polished obsidian, cold, calculating, and unreadable. He spoke little, but when he did, the pack listened. Cain, his mirror in every way that mattered, was all fire and fury. His wolf bore streaks of gold through russet fur, his eyes a burning amber that seemed to glow even in human form. Where Riven was restraint, Cain was recklessness, a storm-given flesh. And then there was Seraphina. The silver-haired warrior had become their constant shadow, their relentless trainer, their pathetic. She snarled, driving her elbow into Riven's ribs hard enough to crack bone. He barely grunted, twisting mid-fall to swipe her legs out from under her. She hit the dirt, but rolled, flipping back to her feet in one fluid motion. Around them, the training clearing bore the scars of their daily battles. Torn earth, splintered wood, the occasional streak of blood. "Again!" Riven growled, circling her. Cain, lounging on a nearby boulder with a fresh bruise darkening his jaw from his own earlier bout with her, watched with narrowed eyes. There was something off about the way they fought. It wasn't just training. It was a dance. Riven lunged, his fist aiming for Seraphina's throat, only for her to catch his wrist, yank him forward and twist. He should have gone down. Instead, he used the momentum to spin, slamming her back against his chest, his other arm hooking around her neck in a mock-kill hold. They froze. Her breath hitched. His grip loosened just slightly, his nose brushing the curve of her ear. A heartbeat passed. 2. Kane's fingers dug into the stone beneath him, his wolf snarling inside his skull. Enough! Serafina rasped, shoving Riven away. She didn't look at either of them as she stalked toward the weapons rack. Sparring's over. Archery, now! Riven's gaze followed her, dark and unreadable. Kane hated it. That night, the pack gathered for the summer solstice feast, a rare night of laughter and full bellies. Kane, already 3 tankards deep into the pack's strongest mead, watched from the shadows as Riven and Serafina stood near the bonfire. She was laughing. Actually laughing. Her head thrown back, the firelight painting her silver hair in shades of gold and crimson. Riven said something low, his mouth quirking in that rare almost smile of his, the one Kane hadn't seen directed at him in years. Something inside Kane snapped. He was across the clearing before he realized he'd moved, shoving between them hard enough to make Serafina stumble. "Brother," Riven said, his voice dangerously calm. "Don't brother me," Kane spat. The mead burned in his veins, but it wasn't the alcohol making his hand shake. "You think I don't see it? The way you look at her?" A hush fell over the nearby pack members. Serafina's eyes flashed. "Kane, no," he snarled, rounding on her. "You're supposed to be our trainer, not his." "Careful," Riven growled. Kane bared his teeth. "Or what? You'll finally fight me for real?" The air between them crackled. Then, enough! Kieran's alpha roar shook the clearing. The pack parted like grass before a scythe as the alpha stormed forward, his gaze burning between his sons. "This ends now." A tense silence. Then Damon's oily voice slithered through the crowd. The Blood Moon twins turning on each other. How predictable. Serafina's hand shot out, gripping Kane's wrist before he could lunge for his uncle. Her touch was like a brand. "Don't," she hissed. "He wants this." Kane wrenched free, but a moment was broken. As the pack dispersed, whispers already spreading like poison, Riven met Kane's gaze across the dying fire. Something unspoken passed between them, a challenge, a warning, a promise. Kane woke, gasping, his skin slick with sweat, his body aching with a need he couldn't name. The dream. Gods. The dream. Serafina beneath him, her silver hair fanned across his furs, her legs wrapped around his hips. But then the eyes that met his weren't blue. They were black. Riven's hands on her waist, Riven's mouth on her throat. Kane's roar of fury woke half the pack. The breaking point? Dawn found Kane at the sacred pool, hurling knives into a tree trunk with violent precision. "You'll dull the blades." He didn't turn as Serafina approached. "Fuck off." She didn't. Instead, she grabbed his next knife mid-throw, flipping it effortlessly before offering it back. "Talk." "Why?" Kane sneered. "So you can run back to Riven and tell him all about it." Serafina's expression hardened. "I don't belong to either of you." "Then why do you stay?" The question hung between them, raw and bleeding. For the first time, Serafina looked uncertain. "The prophecy?" "Bullshit!" Kane snarled, crowding her against the tree. "You feel it too, this thing between us?" His voice dropped. "Between all 3 of us." She didn't deny it. That was what finally broke him. His mouth crashed down on hers, and for one heartbeat, she kissed him back. Then she shoved him away, her chest heaving. "We can't. Why not? Because, a new voice said, it's what they want. Riven stepped from the trees, his face a mask of icy calm, but his eyes were wild. Who? Cain growled. Seraphina's whisper was barely audible. The rogues, the ones who killed my pack. Riven's fingers brushed hers as he moved to stand beside her. They're coming, and they're using this. His gaze flicked between them, to tear us apart first. The truth settled over Cain like a shroud. This wasn't just desire, it was war. Chapter 4. Blood and Betrayal. The forest was too quiet. Cain knew something was wrong the moment he stepped beyond the torchlight of the main camp. The usual nighttime chorus of crickets and owls had gone silent, leaving only the whisper of wind through the pines. His hand drifted to the hunting knife at his belt. "Show yourself," he growled into the darkness. Laughter answered him, slick and familiar. Damon emerged from the shadows, flanked by 6 black-fanged warriors. Their eyes gleamed with the eerie yellow glow of wolves riding the edge of their shift. "Nephew," Damon purred, "out for a midnight stroll?" Cain's muscles coiled. "What do you want?" "Justice." Damon spread his arms wide. "The pack has voted your little condition makes you a danger to us all." A cold trickle of dread slid down Cain's spine. They knew. Somehow, they'd seen the flames licking at his control during training yesterday. "I have it under control," Cain snarled. "Do you?" Damon's smile was all teeth. "Then why are your hands shaking?" Cain looked down. His fingers trembled, not with fear, but with the fire boiling beneath his skin. The scent of smoke curled from his collar. "Shit!" Damon's eyes flashed triumph. "Take him!" The warriors lunged. Cain shifted mid-leap, his bones cracking, his skin erupting into fur. But something was wrong. His wolf form came too fast, too hot, golden flames licking across his pelt as he crashed into the first attacker. The warrior screamed as fire seared through his fur. "See?" Damon howled from the safety of the trees. "Abomination!" Cain's vision swam red with rage and pain. He barely registered the silver-tipped spear aimed at his heart, until a blur of silver fur slammed into him, knocking him aside. The spear found its mark anyway. "Seraphina!" gasped as the weapon punched through her shoulder instead, the silver tip protruding from her collarbone. Her human form collapsed against Cain, her blood scorching hot where it splashed against his burning fur. Something inside Cain shattered. The world went white. Fire erupted from his pores in a roaring inferno. His wolf form expanded, muscles rippling beneath flame-wreathed fur, his paws cracking the frozen earth beneath him. When he howled, the very air trembled. Damon's warriors broke and ran. Only Damon stood his ground, his face twisted in fury, until Cain took one step forward, and the stench of burning hair filled the air as Damon's cloak caught fire from the sheer heat radiating off Cain's body. With a shriek, Damon fled into the night. The flames died as suddenly as they'd come. Cain collapsed beside Seraphina's still form, his massive wolf's muzzle nudging her pale face. "Don't you dare die," he tried to say, but it came out as a whimper. A shadow fell across them. Riven stood at the tree line, his dark eyes wide with horror. Then they hardened into something terrible. "They'll pay for this," he vowed, kneeling to lift Seraphina's limp body. "All of them." Cain shifted back to human form, his voice raw. "She's alive." Riven pressed his ear to Seraphina's chest. Barely. The silver, it's poisoning her. A branch snapped in the distance. More voices, more torches. Riven's jaw clenched. We have to go. Now. Cain didn't argue. As one, the twins slipped into the night, carrying their bleeding protector between them. 3 shadows fleeing the only home they'd ever known. Behind them, the first howls of the hunting party rose into the moonless sky. Chapter 5. The Blood Moon Rises. The abandoned hunter's cave reeked of blood and desperation. Cain knelt beside the flickering fire, his hand shaking as he pressed another strip of cloth against Seraphina's wound. The silver poison had turned her normally golden skin a sickly gray, her breathing shallow and labored. Across from him, Riven worked in grim silence, his long fingers carefully extracting the last fragments of the spearhead from her shoulder. "She's dying," Cain growled, his voice raw. Riven's obsidian eyes flashed in the firelight. "Number, she won't?" A weak cough. Seraphina's eyelashes fluttered. "Still—" "Here," she rasped. Cain's throat tightened. Even now, at death's door, she fought. Just like always. Outside, the wind howled through the mountain pass, carrying with it the scent of snow and something else. Something electric. Cain's flames stirred restlessly beneath his skin. "It's coming," Seraphina whispered. Riven stilled. "The blood moon." She nodded weakly, her blue eyes finding each of theirs in turn. 3 nights from now, when it rises, you must be ready." "For what?" Cain demanded. Seraphina's fingers trembled as she reached for them both. The truth, the story spilled from her lips like a dying confession. Centuries ago, when the first Blood Moon twins were born, the packs had been united under a single rule, not of dominance, but of balance, shadow and flame, night and day, 2 alphas ruling as one, bound by a single mate who carried the moon's blessing. "The rogues didn't slaughter my pack because of a curse," Seraphina breathed. "They killed us because we were the last to remember the old ways, the true ways." Riven's grip on her hand tightened. "And you?" "I was spared for a reason." Her gaze burned into theirs. "To find you, to prepare you." Cain's pulse roared in his ears. "You're saying—" "The 3 of us?" Riven finished, uncharacteristically hesitant. Seraphina's answer was a whisper. "We're fated." The fire crackled between them, the silence heavy with everything left unsaid. The stolen glances during the training, the way their bodies fit together in battle, the dreams they'd all had but never spoken of, dreams of tangled limbs and shared breath. Cain's flames licked up his arms without warning. Fuck! He tried to quell them, but they burned hotter, responding to the turmoil inside him. Riven didn't flinch from the heat. Instead, he reached out and placed his bare hand over Cain's burning wrist. Where their skin touched, something miraculous happened. The flames changed. No longer wild and hungry, they danced in perfect harmony, gold and black swirling together like living art. Seraphina gasped, "Yes." The night before the blood moon, Seraphina's fever broke. She woke to find the twins on either side of her, their bodies radiating heat, even in human form. Moonlight streamed through the cave entrance, painting them all in silver. No words were needed. When Riven's mouth found hers, it was with the same controlled precision he used in battle, every movement calculated, devastating. Cain's kiss was all fire and hunger, his teeth scraping her lower lip in a way that made her whimper. Hands, so many hands, roamed bare skin. Riven's cool touch tracing her ribs, Kane's burning palm skimming her thighs. The contrast was maddening. Mine, Riven growled against her throat. Ours, Kane corrected, his fingers threading through Riven's hair to drag him into a searing kiss over her body. The sight of them, God, the sight of them together. Seraphina arched between them, her back bowing off the furs as their combined touch sent lightning through her veins. When the claiming bite came, first Riven's sharp fangs at her left shoulder, then Kane's scorching mouth at her right, the world exploded behind her eyelids. The bond snapped into place with near painful intensity, a golden thread weaving between all three of their souls. Outside, the first crimson rays of the blood moon crested the mountains. The final battle. They stood together at dawn, bodies still humming from the night's claiming, facing the army gathered below. Damon's traitors, Vex's rogues, all united in their desire to see the twins dead. But now, something was different. Where Kane's flames had once been wild, they now burned with precise control. Where Riven's shadows had been detached, they now moved with fiery purpose. And between them, Seraphina glowed with an unearthly silver light, the living bridge between their powers. "Last chance, nephews," Damon called up the slope. Riven's smile was terrifying. "We don't need one." As one, the trio moved. Kane's fire rained down in blistering waves. Riven's shadows slithered between enemies, disorienting, choking. Seraphina danced between them both, her twin blades flashing like extensions of her own body. When Vexus lunged for her throat, Kane and Riven struck as one, fire and shadow, merging into a devastating spiral of power that erased the rogue leader from existence. Damon's scream of rage turned to terror as he realized they weren't just stronger together, they were unstoppable. Epilogue, the new Alpha bloodline. The blood moon hung heavy over the sacred grove, its crimson light painting the snow in shades of fire and blood. The air hummed with power, thick with the scent of pine and iron, the smell of endings and beginnings. 3 figures stood atop the ancient Alpha stone, their silhouettes haloed by the moon's eerie glow. Riven, Kane, Seraphina. Below them, the assembled packs knelt in the snow. Black-fanged warriors with their heads bowed, rogue survivors trembling in submission, even the elders who had once whispered of curses, now silent in awe. At the foot of the stone, Alpha Kirin placed his fist over his heart and sank to one knee. His mate, Luna, followed, her proud smile visible even through the tears glistening on her cheeks. One by one, the entire territory echoed with the sound of knees hitting frozen earth. Only one figure remained standing. Damon, his once fine clothes torn, his golden eyes wild with desperation. "This is madness!" he spat, his voice cracking. "You would follow these abominations, these—" A whip of black shadow lashed out, wrapping around Damon's throat and yanking him forward. Riven didn't even twitch a finger, his face impassive as his power dragged his uncle through the snow like a rag doll. "Kneel," Riven said softly. The command vibrated through the clearing like a physical force. Damon choked, his body betraying him as his legs folded against his will. Kane stepped forward, his bare feet leaving smoldering prints in the snow. Flames danced along his fingertips as he crouched before his uncle. "Mercy!" Damon gasped, his bluster gone, replaced by raw terror as he scented the change in his nephews, the overwhelming rightness of their power, now that it was united. "Oh, Uncle," Kane purred, trailing a burning finger down Damon's cheek. not quite burning him, but close enough to make the man whimper. "We'll give you mercy." Behind them, Seraphina's voice rang clear as a silver bell. "The age of divided packs ends tonight. The time of single alphas ruling through fear is over." She placed one hand on Riven's shoulder, the other on Kane's. "From this night forward, we rule as one, shadow and flame bound by moonlight." As if summoned by her words, the blood moon's glow intensified, painting the trio in otherworldly light. The packs watched in stunned silence as Riven's shadows merged with Kane's flames, creating living tendrils of dark fire. Seraphina's skin began to glow with moonbeams. The mating marks at her shoulders convulsed in unison. Then the transformation. Riven's shadow wolf form erupted first, larger than ever, his inky fur streaked with glowing embers. Kane followed, his fiery wolf now wreathed in living darkness. And between them, Seraphina's shift was different. Where once she had been a normal silver wolf, now her form shimmered. Half solid, half moonlight, her howl vibrating with ancient power. The three alpha wolves turned as one to face their people, and the clearing exploded. With sound as hundreds of wolves howled their allegiance, the very mountains shaking with the force of it. Only Damon remained silent, his face twisted in horror as realization dawned. This wasn't just a Jew rule, it was evolution. 1 year later, the great hall of the rebuilt Black Fang's stronghold roared with laughter and music. At the high table, Kane lounged with a mug of mead, his free hand possessively stroking Seraphina's swollen belly. Riven sat at her other side, his usual scowl softened as he pressed his ear to her stomach, listening to the double heartbeat within. "Twins again," he murmured, awed. Kane's booming laugh shook the rafters. "Of course they are." Outside, under a perfectly full moon, the packs feasted and sparled, former enemies now united under one banner, and in the deepest shadows, a single pair of golden eyes watched from the trees.